I'm here with my friend, Sasha Lipskaia, and I'm really excited for all of my listeners to meet her because she is, I think, one of the most genuine and loving humans on the planet. And I think that with everything that we're going through in the world right now, we need a lot more women that are like that. So I know a lot about Sasha, but I want Sasha to tell you specifically what she does because I know that she's a mindset and high performance coach for high performing women. But I also know that she's transitioned her business a little bit over the past 6 and 12 months. And I want her to give you an introduction to what that is and why it's so powerful and meaningful to her.
Thank you, Amy. It means the world to me that you invited me to be here. I know how much this space means to you. So it's really an honor to be here and to connect with whoever's listening right now. We love you. And I really hope that this conversation is a blessing to you in whatever way it's meant to be. Yes, I have a very long history of learning about and working in the realm of personal development. First, as starting out as an artist, as an actor, as a performer, as a writer, a communication strategist, media producer, all the things. And in tandem with that, starting in my early 20s, I became really just excited about health and wellness. As you have also, Amy, we have a very similar, in a way, background. I just fell in love with fitness and yes, strength training, Pilates, all the things, and really from a place of just wanting to perform at my best, right? And feeling and looking good and being healthy at the same time. And obviously for women, this is a really big challenge starting at very early age.
Yeah.
So I've struggled with eating disorders. I've started with body dysmorphia, right? Different diet fads and all this conflicting advice. And so that, again, that whole passion of mine led me to actually find like a more functional, holistic approach to nutrition and movement. And so I discovered the paleo way of eating way before it was really big. I got into the whole thing, like I became gluten-free and sugar-free and grain-free, like way before it was cool, I think. Or I like to think that way anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and so that was like an entry point for me to go deeper into personal development in a way, because obviously health and wellness like starts with mindset. And that, again, God has his way, right? It's like I always see this metaphor as like this carrot dangling in front of you at your level of consciousness. This is what you can understand as good at this moment, and you're going to follow. And then it brings you to, oh my goodness, it was all about the castle it was leading me to. Forget the carrot, or the carrot's going to lead it, but like it's about this, what it was leading me to. And so the carrot may have been, I want to look good in my clothes and I want to feel good. But then eventually what it led me to was discovering, and through some prophetic meetings with people like healers and massage therapists and different people in my life, creators, artists, and then just, again, wellness practitioners saying to me and friends, you're really good at like helping people feel better, and you should be a shrink, you should be a psychologist, like you're in the wrong industry. And I was like, I don't think I'm in the wrong industry, but I do feel that there is this industry that I'm in, which is the media communications, and at the same time fitness. I became a fitness coach, right? I became all the things. Like it's leading me towards something a little bit deeper in a sense. And so I discovered coaching, right? Life coaching as a modality to help people, yes, actualize their true self, right? Greatest self, which is their true self. And that to me became just like an obsession. I was like, oh, so I started learning all the modalities and the classical life coaching and mindset and leadership. And I specialized in wellness from that holistic space. And you can't just focus on mindset and not talk about the body, talk about how we move and how we eat and all the things and how we sleep. And so always brought it back to the beginning in a way. And eventually, Amy, what happened is I did start developing a deeper relationship through that journey with God. Like he was becoming very vocal in my life, and I started hearing his voice in various ways. And I've always been a woman of faith, but never really understood what that meant.
Yeah.
Until recently, actually, really understood what that meant. So that to say that over the last 12 years, I've built different containers to work with people as a coach. Worked primarily with very driven, ambitious, visionary leaders, but not just entrepreneurs, stay-at-home moms and business owners. And over the last couple of years, it became clear to me that what they were coming to me for and what I was helping them with was actually hearing God's voice more than anything. And I would call it intuition, right? Whatever was the acceptable term and that felt good and safe, until I realized that I'm not really calling it what it is. And what it isn't just intuition, it's the discernment between God's voice and not. And your intuition really is your capacity to discern and to know that God's voice will always lead you to your healthiest, right, most empowered, right, most giving, most loving, and absolutely most thriving self, but in a way that's meant for you, which is
Yeah.
very specific to you. It doesn't mean that you need to create a certain amount of income, right, or look a certain way or whatever, hit a certain goal, weight, right, whatever that is. And so I saw the discrepancy was always between the truth of what the person really thought they needed and wanted versus what God wanted for them. Right. That, again, not to say that I'm a prophet in any way, but I know that my gift is really helping you see how God sees you and pull that out. And so I started applying that in my coaching more and more. I explored Tantra and yoga and different traditions because all, again, back to the body. How do we connect to the holy within the body, right? How do we work with God through our knowing of him, not just an understanding or theology, or because a lot of people have a lot of trauma around that also.
Sure.
So that being said, this last year, I have consolidated that through him literally just cutting through all of it and saying, okay, you've been talking about me enough to know that there are a lot of ways to talk about me, but you know who I am. I don't think you realize who I am. And Amy, and this is just vulnerable for me to say because it's still hard for me to articulate, but I knew God according to me, not me according to God. That was it. You can't know me if you don't know me. You won't know you. You don't know what's best for you if you don't know me and you according to my vision for you. And that came through Christ Jesus for me. Now, I've always been Christian. I just didn't know it in a way. Like I called myself that, but I didn't really understand what that meant. And so in that moment, I am the truth, I am the way, I am the life. I didn't even know the scripture that well. Like I've been here and there, but
Sure.
but very lukewarm in a way and very ambiguous. And again, all of that was part of the journey, was needed so that I understand all of the things around Christianity that lead you to perhaps explore it. So this to say that where I am now and what I do, right, there is a very needed return to faith for people who are called to it. Where we can really, in a way, not even consolidate, but understand that our call to be healthier, to reclaim our sovereignty and our health and wellness, which is what you do, right? Understand what we are created to be and how we're created to live and how we're supposed to create community around that. Lifestyle, all of that it cannot really happen without us acknowledging the creator and understanding his vision, which is very clear. And it's not at all confusing. So it's not just clear in the sense of what we see in the world, but it's clear in our hearts. He's written it in our hearts. We know the truth, what we're called to do. And we're reclaiming our femininity as women, reclaiming the men's masculinity, like offering them a space to actually embody that. And all of that is part of our health journey. And so I have been on a mission now for myself and for the people that I'm working with and calling in to join me to really surrender any resistance to follow Christ. If that's what you know he's calling you to do, to honor his will for you in the way that you're meant to eat and ultimately, of course, live, breathe, express yourself, do the work you're meant to do. So what I do is I help, yes, high performing, but most importantly, just deeply devoted women and men who want to live for something that they know to be true beyond themselves, which is God, right? Which is calling them to stand for him.
Yeah.
And to live for him, which means that they must become fit for service, which brings me to our conversation today. Like this past year off, right? I came back to my roots. I became a master health coach. But why? Because without those conversations and having the capacity to have those conversations with my clients, I can't really help them. If they're telling me I want to lead for Christ, I'm just gonna whatever. I'm just gonna eat like whatever he puts on my table. Yes, but you get to intentionally pray and intuitively hear his call to offer the vessel he's given you and know that it's your responsibility to steward this vessel and to therefore also encourage, inspire, motivate others to do the same. And so that's where I am. That's where I live right now. And it's been a wild journey. So thank you for offering me the space to share it.
My pleasure. So I have a conversation with my husband fairly frequently
Oh,
where we talk, or maybe I talk, or maybe I nag toward like garbage in, garbage out. And it's in my mind, it's what goes into our brain, it's what goes into our body. If we're spending our time watching like a horror movie versus watching something to me that is educational and makes me a more enlightened human in some way, shape, or form, that's a conversation that we have that sometimes gets a little bit conflicted between
mm,
the two of us. Same thing with what we eat and drink in our home.
mm,
At this point this morning, I was on my walk, and on my walks, I listened to a ton of podcasts. And the podcast I was listening to this morning was Dr. Josh Axe and Gary Brecka.
mm,
And Dr. Axe has a book coming out called The Biblio Diet. And he's going back through scripture, talking about the things that the Bible told us thousands and thousands of years ago about how to make our bodies healthy.
mhm,
And a couple of years ago, I had a parasite issue where I did a parasite cleanse. Then I ended up with a mold issue and I did a mold cleanse. And all of that really damaged my immune system. And as they were talking this morning, Dr. Axe was talking about how he no longer eats pork.
mm,
And he was talking about how the Bible told us years ago to
mm,
not eat pork,
mm,
but the Bible was doing it from a religious type standpoint, but it was telling us that pork wasn't clean.
mhm,
And there are a lot of faiths that still make food decisions based on that. And what he was saying today, and I found this so fascinating, is that pigs
mm,
do not have some of the body systems that we have as humans to be able to detoxify
mm,
chemicals, parasites,
mm,
all of these things. And so they're actually one of the least healthy
mm,
forms of protein,
mm,
but yet the Bible told us that many years ago. And he was talking a lot about like local farms and how the Bible talked so much about going out into your land and
mm,
getting your food. And he's one that's really big on regenerative farming and all of that. And I love that. If I could do anything with my life at this point right now, I would love to just have a small regenerative farm where we
mm,
had our own chickens and I could grow my own gardens and
mm,
all of that stuff. And we're working toward that at some point in our life. But tell me how you eat
mm,
and some of the things that you do in your body to
mm,
keep yourself the healthiest vessel that you can be to be able to show up to
mm.
help other people. Because I think that's one of our big challenges is so often we end up giving,
Yeah.
and we find out we're taking care of ourselves last.
Mm.
And when I learned to switch, that was when I became healthier and I feel like I actually became a better coach.
Right. Yes, of course, because you start experiencing, I think, other people differently when you are right fully present. And you can't be fully present if you're not fueled properly, right? If you're not connected to your body in the way that feels empowering, not just to you, but to the people in front of you. And therefore, you can transmit your presence, right? As a leader, they can trust you.
Yeah.
You trust in yourself, become trustworthy to others. And so I see this a lot. People who say, I don't trust myself, or I feel like I'm doubting myself. Again, we can go different ways talking about the lack of trust in yourself, but ultimately it comes back to lack of love, right? You can't love something if you don't trust it, really. So you can't really love yourself. And I say this from a place of this is not like the popular cultural love yourself. No, I'm talking about love what God has put inside of you, right? Love the seed, right? The potential of you serving this world. So if you're not nurturing, watering, right, growing that seed in fertile ground, and every single day, starting anew. Okay, what does it need today? What
Yeah.
stage of growth is it at today? What kind of soil does it need today? So, starting with that, I would say my first point I'd say is I start with Where am I? What stage of my life, the year, back to local. I've become really, I'm sure you may have experienced this too. I've become really interested in kind of quantum biology as well, circadian rhythm optimization, microbiotic, right? Like understanding, okay, you live in this space and time, right? This country, this city, this village, whatever it is. God has provided certain things for you that are meant to help you thrive. You're good. Right now, you might lack certain things, and those foods might lack certain vitamins. And we know the soil is depleted, which is exactly where like the regenerative farming comes in, right? All of the things that we might be doing to improve that, right? All together, still ultimately saying, okay, what is it provided for me in my environment right now to help me thrive? And what I have done and what I've always done, and I fail at this miserably every day, by the way. I'm not, by no means am I perfect at this,
Of course not.
but
None of us are.
so that's what I'm like. I have certain tendencies and behaviors where I'm like being rebuked every day. I'm like, okay, like even the pork thing, right? It's not optimal in terms of my energy, and I really like pork rinds, right? I love
That's
pork rinds. Yeah. Okay. So every now and then I'll have them, but then I make sure to, for example, so I understand that there's an important piece here. Often it's yes, the pork, but also the imbalance between the omega-6 and omega-3, right? So I make sure to like quadruple the dose of wild sardines that I'm
Love
having
it.
with that day. I'll have like 3 cans, right? I'm like, okay, so that's how we're gonna do this, right? But that being said, the kind of the foundation of how I take care of myself and what I've seen is yes, my presence, my capacity to actually support somebody, my energy, obviously, and the clarity of my mind is coming from first sleep, like non-negotiable, most important thing in my life. Like really, without that,
Me too. Yeah. I'm a crazy person. Without one night of sleep, I might be still okay. But by the second night, if I haven't gotten my sleep, I'm like crying and I'm like, I just can't do it. It completely derails my whole life.
Yes. And the more intuitive you are, the more energetically open, right? You can sense that about yourself, right? If light affects you, right? Sound affects you, great, all gifts. But again, that means that you're even more, in a way, sensitive to the load of this world. And you must prioritize self-care in that way, right? Okay, my instrument is really delicate. It's this violin I'm playing, like it's high end and it needs a lot of care. Like I need to pay attention. So yeah, sleep number one. And you like when that I know I'm like, oh man, that was stupid. I'm gonna get up at 5 because that's what I do. I was like, yes, and then all day I'm like, yeah, and then I did it again. So sleep number one. Second is again exposure to light and being outside. Actually, again, movement, yes, and to me, structured movement is important. Weight training, I'm all about fitness, big part of my life. And back to only after functional outdoor movement. I don't care what the weather is. I will make it happen. At least for 20 minutes, 30, if it's like crazy cold, right? Or incredible heat, like there will be like you'll have a window somewhere. Right. So prioritize so that you can connect to the earth, so that you can breathe the air, so you can be in the sun. So first couple hours, getting outside, getting some sun, super important. Number 3 for me, again, is making sure that, yes, I am moving like actually structurally. So a couple of days a week to all the way to 6 days, depending on the season of life, depending, again, trusting and intuitively knowing, okay, what is actually best. So today I was like, I'm not going to train today. Why? There are other priorities. I feel good. I trust God. I'm in a very good shape. I've taken care of myself for a long time. Like I'm going to focus on what is it called? The minimum effective dose, right? So really cultivating that. So still, that being said, a couple days a week at least, lifting heavy things. Yes, especially for women. We will lose
muscle strength, and it makes all the difference in the world in terms of sarcopenia, osteopenia, osteoporosis, all of those things.
So important. Yes, ladies, like lift heavy things. And I wouldn't say like this is more important than nutrition. Of course not. Like nutrition is, but to me, they kind of, I can't separate that. Like for me, movement and nutrition, like, but I would say that, of course, when it comes to body composition and the things that we're sometimes really concerned with, nutrition comes before the movement even. Because what you put in your body will determine how you move, how you feel, and what you actually get from the movement, right? So backtracking, sleep, outside light, right? Being out there with the world, in the world, and receiving God's grace through that and fueling your body. So protein, always to me like king. Day I overshoot. I love protein.
100 to 150 grams a day is what most of us as women are recommended that we eat. And when I looked back at my own life, I was probably eating less than 50. before I ever really made this a tremendous priority,
Oh,
because I was an intermittent fasting girl. And so I did one meal a day.
oh,
And it was really interesting and very frustrating to me because I feel like I was really taking great care of myself, but I was continuing to gain weight.
mhm,
And really, it was because I was not properly nourishing my
no.
body to be able to do all the things that I was trying to do. And my body told me about it because it knocked me on my tush.
And we're
So,
not men, right?
yeah,
We're not men, Dr. Stacy
no,
says. We're
no,
not men.
yes,
And so the whole, yeah, intermittent fat, like all the fat, I've tried all the diets, I've done all that.
yes,
Again, there was a time and a place, certain times it could be appropriate. But for most women,
it's not.
they're not. Let's just call it what it is. Again, no dogma, no cults, not making that whole nutrition journey, health journey
Yeah,
legalistic, right?
yeah,
And just what's working for you right now. Let's look at what's working. It's facts over feelings, right? And the feelings come from feeling good, right?
yeah,
So let's focus on the feelings that come from actually fueling your body. So yeah, protein, I would say overshoot. If you're like,
yes,
oh, I don't know about 100, let's try 200. Then at least
yeah,
you'll get to 100. 200 is good. That's too much. Only if you don't have the habit, which you can learn.
right.
But like you said, if you're doing the one meal a day, for most people, it's completely impossible to do.
Most people could not overeat protein because they would be too full to be able to put it in. If you were to try to eat 200 grams of protein, let's just say from like lean chicken, lean red meat,
Yeah,
all of those things, you would have eggs. To get something like 30 grams of protein from eggs, you would have to eat 6 eggs.
yeah,
To get 50 grams of protein from a chunk of steak, you would have to eat like a 6 to 8 ounce steak.
yeah.
But if you were to try to get 200 grams of protein, you genuinely could not get all that food down if you were really very conscious about it. And so I think it's so important to start training your body that
Mhm.
our goal is,
Yeah,
again, for most of us, it's
yeah,
right around 100 to 150 grams, depending on what you want your ideal muscular body weight to be.
yeah.
And
You ready for
so,
something
yeah,
crazy, Amy? Do you know how much protein I eat?
how much?
Starting like probably anywhere from 200 to 350 grams. That's what my tracker says. I might
So,
be, yeah.
no. So this is a great conversation then, because I would love to take this a little further and tell me, what do you eat over the course of a day? What does your day look like?
Usually in the morning. So again, I eat when I get up, first couple
Okay.
hours, must eat, right? Get outside, eat. So actually I do use whey. I like
Yeah.
it. Like, I
Yeah.
enjoy it. So that's my like treat.
Yeah.
So I'll have like just a pure, I don't add anything to it, just whey protein shake.
Do you
I'll
do chocolate? Do you have a favorite flavor? Okay. Okay.
my favorite thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
chocolate, that I have some yogurt with that. Usually just like a creamy, it could be Greek. It doesn't have to be Greek
Yeah.
because I have quite a lot of protein there. And then that's usually like the first meal. I might actually no, now I also have bone broth
Okay.
there, my own that I make. So
Yeah.
like I'll add some gelatinous like bone. So like a big bowl of gooiness. I
Okay.
enjoy it a lot. So that then sometimes I will not have necessarily lunch, but I do. Here's the thing: I have a capacity to eat a lot. I've trained myself for that, so I enjoy having a big meal. I really do like it. It doesn't feel bad to me. Not everyone does. The next meal or the next two meals would usually be at least a couple of servings of meat. By servings, to me, it's like 300 grams, like 300 to 500 grams of meat.
Yeah.
And then maybe also, every day I have a couple of eggs at least.
Yeah.
And then some more yogurt. And then cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese. So I'll have 500 grams of cottage cheese, probably 500 grams of meat, 2 eggs, yogurt, and I might have another protein shake before bed.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's a lot of food for me. I will tell
But
you, no, and not everyone can,
no.
but I will say that I was shocked when I stopped counting calories.
Yes.
I stopped being worried about eating too much.
Yeah.
Once I transitioned to primarily protein, all of a sudden I was eating 2 and 3 times as much as I was eating before. But my body was metabolizing it so differently that I started to feel better. The food wasn't making me lethargic like my food had been before. And that was a big part of why I was doing one meal a day,
Yeah.
is that I found that if I ate in the middle of the day, it made me lethargic for the afternoon.
Mm.
And that's a symptom of gut health imbalances. And then once I started shifting what I ate and how I ate it, all of a sudden, that was not the same issue that I had for so many years. So it's so accurate that we have to train our bodies to do what it is we want them to do. And as you're talking about going outside and getting light, I was thinking back to a time in my life where I did 75 hard. And I didn't understand at the time why it required one workout outside every day. And now that getting up and getting out in morning sunlight is such a huge component of my life and yours, now all of a sudden it's so clear to me why it's recommended that you do that. I just don't think it's told to most of us, hey, get out, get the morning light, reset the circadian rhythm, go and tell your body, hey, it's morning. This is when we start to move, speed up my metabolism, start everything, because now I need the resources from my body to be able to do all the things I need to do today.
Exactly. Because like a flower, right? Again, back to scripture. It's like you pray to receive his light. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, you're not religious or not faith-based. Still, like, you understand what that feels like right on your body. Like when you get the sun into your eyes, even if there's no sun, just look at the sky where the sun would be and look at it for at least 5 minutes in the morning, right? But then the outside workout, to your point, I would say if I had to choose, I'd be like, no, walking for at least an hour and a half every single day. You might not be able to do it all outside. Do 30 minutes outside and then 30 minutes on your treadmill, whatever it is. But walking, to me, non-negotiable. We're designed for that. And then the heavy lifting, of course. But then the nutrition, the protein, and women really need to hear it, like focus on the protein first, right? And then everything else, notice I didn't mention anything else. I do include carbs here and there. Like I do have butter, I'll have squash, I'll have whatever, again, feels
fiber.
And
you have healthy fibers a lot of time.
Absolutely. And sometimes I don't want any.
Yeah.
And I just have meat, and that's fine.
I will tell you that I got a Ninja Creamy probably about 9 months ago, and I love that thing. I make peanut butter protein ice cream with the Truvani peanut butter protein. It's wonderful. I keep on hand, I use cottage cheese as the base for our ice cream instead of anything else. And so I blend up cottage cheese with my protein powders, maybe a little bit of monk fruit, and then maybe cacao powder or maybe the protein powder. I have a vanilla protein powder that I keep as well. And then I use that as the base because in the summer when it's 120 degrees here in Vegas, and my husband's, I really want a milkshake. I'm like, I will go pull my protein ice cream and I will use that to make a milkshake here at the house. And I know that it's healthy. It has no added sugars. It doesn't have any added like gums or anything else. Everything came directly out of its container and went in to make that ice cream. And I love that.
Oh my goodness, Amy. Yes. Like protein ice cream. And like, I was just thinking egg yolks to it, right? Like you just do so many, again, you can do whatever you want to do in terms of the macros, like what you're looking for, but I need, we'll talk more about the creamy because I'm really like, I think it's like, it speaks to myself. Like you said, peanut butter, like peanut butter and chocolate. There's no butter.
My favorite. That's my favorite breakfast is I actually will do Greek yogurt with vanilla protein powder, big dollops of peanut butter and some chia seeds and some collagen and some creatine. And I mix it all up and it's just this lovely little peanut butter bowl. And that has been how I have managed to get myself up to that 150-ish range because otherwise I was really struggling to get in that many grams of protein every day.
This is, again, make it easy for yourself, right?
What do you like?
Yeah, what do you like? Exactly. And you said about my favorite dessert is cottage cheese and the hard cottage cheese, not like the weird gooey gum filled, like actual cottage cheese with peanut butter and banana combination. Chocolate, I'm sure you could add some cocoa, like they're taking it to the next level. Like that, holy moly. That's my, like, if you want to make me happy, it's either steak and eggs or that, or both. Let's do both.
Steak and eggs is my very favorite breakfast. When we go out, that's what I always order. And if you ask the restaurants, most of them will cook it all in butter
Right.
instead of in the oils, which always makes me very happy. But steak and eggs is my very favorite breakfast out. I just started making at home protein pancakes and protein waffles.
Ooh.
And again, that has become like a big favorite thing. And my husband, God bless him, he's so good about just trying whatever I make. And he's really good at going and just taking things that we would normally like to eat and
Mhm.
trying to make them healthier and a little bit more. And I call it on plan for
Yes.
me because I don't really follow any type of diet. I just really do my best to eat whole, clean foods, heavy protein. I try to avoid as many seed oils as I can, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well,
So,
so exactly as you said, I would say that the final rule after the protein is that everything else, anything you have, again,
yeah.
back seasonal, local, but sometimes it's not, and that's fine. Whole. Every now and then I'll have a protein bar. That's again my guilty okay. But I make sure that it's minimum, it's whey and like maybe stevia and whatever sucralose. I'll live. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But again, focusing on optimization. And I notice when I have too many of them, like I notice like my head starts feeling heavy and like I can feel this kind of this weird lethargy in my, and
Yeah.
it's not just that. There might be other factors, but it's been too many times now for me to know. Like it's all the additives in that bar, and because I'm so sensitive to it now, because when you purify your diet, you probably know this.
Yes.
Yeah, you become even more sensitive.
Yeah. As
Yes.
soon as you add in something that you're not used to eating,
Oh yeah.
it's like instantaneous. As
Yes.
soon as I cut out gluten years ago,
Yeah.
whenever I would have just a little bit, it would make me so sick. Yeah.
So, and again, there are ways to have the things you maybe feel like you can't have anymore and
Yeah.
make it appropriate for what you want. Like you said, like waffles. I don't know if you do that. Sardine waffles for people who have trouble with fatty fish. You just mix sardines with eggs, you fry it,
Really?
and yeah, and then you can spread whatever you want, like butter,
And
cheese.
it doesn't taste fishy?
No, and you can add seasoning to it, like not
Okay, I'm gonna try that because one of my favorite things at dinner time is I do a very high protein version of the Red Lobster cheddar biscuits, where I'll do cottage cheese, almond flour, coconut flour, and cheddar cheese and cottage cheese and throw it all together and then bake it into little biscuits.
yeah.
But that would be a great way for me because I have cans of sardines that I've honestly never even opened them because I'm like, I don't know. I don't like anchovies and I'm
Oh,
afraid I'm not going to like these either. And so I just don't touch them.
this is God's sign to you. This is prophetic.
Okay, there we go.
No, seriously, they are, again, not everybody. And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people have issues with this fishy smell, but I would say sardines are, if you know how to cook them properly, if you play around, and you might not even tell your husband, like just
Yeah.
try, bake them into a frittata with some eggs, like to start with some
Neat.
on top. Amazing. Sardines are amazing because, man, I think it's one of the only fish, because a lot of fish isn't really fish anymore.
Right.
They're wild and they're small. So even if a fish is wild,
Right.
they get a lot of other crap coming in because they're
The
big.
larger they get, the more toxins they have. Yes.
And they can be local to, hopefully, again, you can get some that are closer than China. But yeah, anyways, sardines are, and they're so like easy to transport. Like I take them with me everywhere I travel, don't have them on a plane, but you can bake them into something and put them on a plane. So all this to say yes to the sardines.
Wow, that may be like the most interesting tip out of this whole conversation, and I will try it. So tell me, Sasha, what do you feel like you know now about health, wellness, and like life goals that you would love to tell your younger self?
Oof. I'm going to appropriate a saying that I heard from one of the people that I learned from, and that is don't major in the minors.
Love that. My husband says, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but really understand what is major for you, what's
Yeah.
important for you, and give yourself a lot of grace with
Mhm.
that. But also take yourself seriously in the sense of not like what you want, but back to again the way that I lead myself and my clients. What does God want for you? Like
Yeah.
really, what is His vision for you? And from that place, would He say yes to this? Would this align to who you were created to be? So what I've learned is back to the focus on the few things that matter, right? Is understanding that yes, I really do need certain things to thrive. And by thrive, I mean feel grounded, feel inspired, feel loving, right? Feel open, and have that just faith, right? That this world is full of beauty and we are here to explore and share it with each other because that beauty is in us, right? And so to do that, I need absolutely non-negotiable, right? Take care of myself first and foremost, because then I can show up and take care of other people physically, emotionally, mentally. And I've learned that there is no mentally, but not physically, and emotionally, but not. We are holistic creatures. So your mindset, your emotional state, your physiology all work together, which always interacts with the world around you, with your environment, right? So taking into account that we are spiritual and physical and mental creatures, you need to take care of your mind, your heart, and your body in the same way, right? So if I'm reading scripture and I'm praying, which is my number one thing in the morning, let's say, and do that first, while going outside and being in the sun and then having my protein and then moving my body, it's part of that. And I can actually infuse, right? I pray when I walk, right? Sometimes I listen to scripture when I'm in the gym or listen to a sermon. I incorporate what matters to me most into how I know God wants me to take care of myself, but not sweating the small stuff. I don't focus on the things that are distracting me, right? Oh, there's a new diet. Oh, I could do more. I could go to the gym 10 times a week. And back to understanding the design that I wasn't designed to worship myself, right? But I was designed to be present with worshiping Him, which means my body has to be fit for service. I have to feel really good in it. I have to feel inspired to help others live their best life, whatever my role is, right? You have to be a coach, right? That's our role. We're all leaders for each other. And to do that, I have to embody that. So people have to feel that I live what I say is important. And so what I've learned is that starting with what is best for, like, best, really best, most aligned in my highest good, not my ego, but in what I'm meant to do in the world, what is best for me in that way, movement, nutrition, sleep, whatever I need to do to take care of myself must and will be good for anyone and everyone I care about. Sure. If it feels like it will be, oh, but if I take care of myself in the sense of, let's say I go to the gym, but then what if my daughter needs me? But then what if I don't do this thing that I think I should do on social media? But what, like, no, actually, if you don't do that, you won't have the capacity to be present with your daughter in the way that you need to be and to embody to her the example of a woman that is thriving, right? And that's leading by example. And whatever you need to do on social media, that's the small stuff, right? Let's not focus on that. And major in the majors, which is your health. And also, again, back to what health actually is. It's holistic, your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. All of them are one. See your mental and physical health as spiritual and vice versa. I like when I see people who are physically unwell, right? And they're, let's say they're openly unwell, right? It's not just, well, I think they are unwell, like they're just sharing that they don't feel good. I believe there is often a spiritual component to that, right? There is a feeling of misalignment, of just lack or fear, whatever it is, which is great. Your body's showing you, right? Something is out of alignment. Come back. Beautiful. We're designed for that. So God is speaking to you always. And finally, what I would say is to anyone listening, what I've learned most importantly is, again, love of self. It doesn't mean selfish love, self-full. You fill yourself up with love so that you can give it. You can only give it if you're full of it. And the only thing worthy being full of is love. So make sure that you feel that. That will determine what you're eating, how you're sleeping, whether or not you'll take that 10 minutes in bed, whether or not somebody tells you, no, you're not gonna go get her if you don't do that. You know what? Thank you. Heard. I have a different authority. 10 minutes, and then I'll get up and I will go to battle. Okay?
Love it. That's awesome. So to finish this up, where can our listeners find you?
My favorite place right now, LinkedIn, actually. I really like it. Obviously, my website is a good place to find. I would say socially, YouTube, which I will share with you. LinkedIn, I will start doing weekly live streams on YouTube, and then interjecting that Substack. So I really, again, I invite anyone and everyone out there to share their journey, health-wise or not. Substack is a great place to do that. You'll find a lot of people who will support you and want to collaborate with you. So just a little plug, not at all an affiliate, but I just felt called to share because it's a beautiful place to, especially when it comes to your health journey. It's a very beautiful place to share. But yes, LinkedIn, Substack, YouTube, and then my website would be.
And we'll have all those in the show notes too, because I do have all that written down, but I wanted to make sure that you got it out here. So those people that are on their walk, like I am in the morning and listening, that they can go and find you. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. And if what Sasha said resonates with you, please go visit the show notes and go find her. And I think that she will change your life. So thank you. Love
Thank you
you.
very much for listening. Thank you, Amy. God bless you.
All right.